I'm honored to have been invited to speak here, to share my work and reflections on being a female artist in the year 2022. I've had a decades-long career while also supporting a family and raising 2 beautiful children, and I can only hope to inspire and influence other women with my art, my story, my female gaze. I grew up in a family where there was no difference between male and female in potential, with equal honor and respect, and where I was surrounded by women, powerful, strong women, my mother, older sister, grandmother, aunt, and a tremendously supportive father. I climbed trees and rode a unicycle, played music, and put on song and dance shows in living rooms, and otherwise spent my childhood drawing. It's true that for centuries, women were not allowed to go to art school, but that was not my case. I was lucky enough to go to many art schools and could never be where I am today without the years spent in those studios, with access to live models, to exciting and erratic student work, and the encouragement of my teachers at the museum school and the École des Beaux-Arts. It never even occurred to me that there might be a disadvantage to being a woman until I left art school and started to look for gallery representation for my drawings. I was told 2 things. One could not have a show of only works on paper unless there was the justification of an oil painting for which they were the preparation, and simply to take a look at the names of the people represented by the prestigious galleries. Did I notice anything? I did not. They were all men. The gallery owners, too, were all men. The best galleries were owned by and represented only men. In fact, my art teachers were men, too. This was how it was then. Luckily, things have vastly improved, thanks to the strong women who fought for their place in the art world and the men who've backed them, but there's still leaps and bounds to be made. According to a recent ArtNet and Maastricht study, only 13.7% of living artists represented by galleries in Europe and North America are female. This is astonishing since art and design students are 70% female. In fact, one of my models here in Rome just told me that he had just been posing for an American Art Abroad program and that 100% of the people drawing were women. I hope to be a source of inspiration for women who feel they might not manage to succeed because of their gender, and shine a light on the fact that there are improvements that need to be made. I'm tremendously grateful to the gallery owners and collectors whose support and enthusiasm for my work over the years has been fundamental for my artistic growth and allowed me to raise my children through making watercolors. I try to keep the materials I use fresh, the marks active and varied. I love the way watercolor washes and spreads, the way charcoal grazes the surface of the paper. The picture I make is somewhere between what the real thing looks like and what the materials look like, loose and precise. I often have to paint the same subject over and over until there's the right combination of freshness and detail. And then the sunlight moves, the shadows change, and there's a totally new image. Very early on in Rome, I started to organize small life drawing sessions with short poses. I wanted to create a comfortable situation for myself and for the models to be free to do the poses they wanted to do with good lighting, with music, so that they could enter into themselves, so that it was as much a beautiful personal experience for them as it is for me. I was the first person many of my models ever posed for. They came because they were actors trying to feel more comfortable with their bodies and performing nude on stage. One of them, Laura, came and was so happy with the experience that she sent me her friends, her boyfriends, returned again and again, and over the years has become a dear friend who still poses for me 20 years later. My models speak of how posing enriches their work as actors, how they discover their femininity, how they can be whatever they want, from dainty to grotesque, from Jackal or Nike of Samothrace to Aspinad from a billboard. I'm painting physicality through light and shadow and curves, reflections and shapes. The models are empowered not only by having been comfortably naked for hours in front of people, but also through seeing their bodies as art, as fluid marks, appreciated in a non-critical way, as an expressive ideal. Something I love about art is how varied it is, and how there can be extremely powerful art with a political or social message, and art that is equally as powerful with no message, that takes its power from beauty. Although a great deal can be said verbally about art, a beautiful part of pictures is the entrance into a place that's simply visual, that everyone can share and feel and understand, whether capable of making it or not, or putting it into words. A little like the feeling you have when you listen to a piece of music, that wonderful transportation. I hope that my work can take the viewer into a place of visual fascination and pleasure, and that seeing a woman in a role where her art does not need to have a narrative might inspire others. For me, and I think for many others, art is a refuge, a way to create something beautiful, to immerse oneself in a beautiful place, and to make life beautiful and better, and in one's own small reality, to make other people's lives better too. I'll finish off with a quote. The only excuse for making a useless thing is that one admires it intensely. Quote by Oscar Wilde, given to me by my daughter. Thank you.